Hi, I'm Ellie from Klum House, and I'm going to show you how to make this cute leather wallet. It has 4 card slots and 2 pockets for all that cash. Let's get started. In your kit, you'll have 1 piece of vegetable tanned leather, all cut out, hole punched, and ready to put your wallet together. 7 double cap rivets, 6 to construct the wallet and 1 extra, 1 magnetic snap, a card with the link to the video instructions, a leather info card that talks about the character of tan leather and how it ages over time into a nice rich caramel brown color. The essential tools that you'll need to make the wallet are a dot anvil and a bone folder. Now this isn't 100% necessary like the dot anvil is, but it's very highly recommended and it helps you crease the leather really nicely. You'll also need a hammer to set the rivets and a hard surface like this stone slab. To prepare your leather and help it last longer, we recommend leather salve, a horsehair buffing brush, and a flannel cloth. An alternative to setting your rivets with a hammer is to use a rivet setter and a mallet. Lastly, it's really fun to personalize your leather wallet with either our large 1/4-inch stamps or our small 1/8-inch stamps. And in order to help you align your message, I recommend a ruler and a pencil. So I'm going to put down a piece of newsprint paper so I can work the leather salve into the veg-tanned leather wallet. I have my wallet here, and I'm just going to dip the horsehair buffing brush into the salve, get it nice and gooped up, and then work it into the right side of my leather using circular motion. And you can really start to see the salve darken and sink into the leather really nicely. And this is going to help the leather stay water resistant, and it's going to soften it up, make it more supple, make it a nicer touch to the hand, and also easier to work with as you construct the wallet. Now, leather goods in general, they need to be cared for over time and conditioned, and this leather salve is a really great product to do that. So you can really start to see it sink in there, and I'm just going to work my way through so that I've covered all of the leather wallet. So now that I've applied leather salve to the whole leather wallet piece, I'm going to put that aside and I'm going to let it sit for about 10-15 minutes so that the salve can soak into the leather, and then I'm going to come back in and we're going to buff it. Now that we've let the leather salve soak into the wallet, we're going to go ahead and grab a buffing cloth and buff the leather using circular motions, and you'll start to see the leather get shiny. And what this does is it really helps set in the wax and the oil, and it makes the leather wallet pretty water resistant, which is really nice for just like daily wear and tear. So get your wax on, wax off on the whole leather wallet. You'll know that you've buffed it enough because it's no longer super tacky and the cloth won't want to grip it. If you don't have a flannel buffing cloth, you can also just use an old t-shirt. Now that I have my wallet prepped with the leather salve and buffed, then I can personalize it with some leather stamps. So I'm going to grab my large stamping set and my ruler, and when the wallet is shut, it's going to have a little bit of space right here between this rivet and the magnetic snap. I'm just going to add my name right in there. So, well, these will be folded in and this will be folded up. So this is the area I want to work in right here. So I'm going to mark 1 3/8 down from the top edge of the leather there, and I'm just going to make a light mark with my pencil, and that's about where I want the bottom of my letters. Now your stamp set actually comes with a sample piece of leather that you can try, and I do really recommend testing with this piece. It's really important to not hit the stamp super hard or it will cut into the leather. So it's nice to practice like how much force to use. You might want to grab a hard surface or the stone slab like this to make sure that you're working on a nice, hard, stable surface so that your stamp goes into the leather and indents really well. So I'm just checking, making sure my E isn't upside down. And I'm gonna grab my mallet and set this in so that it indents the E into the leather. So I didn't even hit that very hard at all, and you can see that I got a really nice emboss there. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my leather wallet, and here's the side where I marked my line. And I'm gonna start with my E there. So I'm just eyeballing this, you know, I don't care a ton about if some of the letters are a little crooked. I think that adds some character and a handcrafted look to it. So there's my E, just lightly tapped that letter. Yay, so now I got my name in there. So the main thing to watch out for is you just wanna make sure you understand how the wallet goes together so that your whatever message you're writing is not upside down. And we're just gonna go ahead and start to crease the wallet in the places that we want it to fold. So again, we have these two sides to the wallet. If you look here, you could see, here, let me go ahead and turn it this way. You could see that these fold in and this folds up, and these fold in and this folds up. So let's pre-crease the edges there. So this is where the bone folder really starts to shine. So I'm not being super concerned right now as I crease this about all of my rivet holes aligning. I really just want to get my leather worked into the correct shape. So these wings, I'm going to finger press them down and then work my way around to the other two. So the leather, the vegetable tan leather, has a lot of memory. So once we start to crease it, it's gonna wanna stay creased. Now, if you were working with a thicker leather, then you could benefit from lightly wetting the wallet to help it crease. So I just have a sponge and a little glass of water here. And just to show you what I mean, you can just lightly dip your sponge. Now you don't want to get it too wet, and again, you might not need to do this, but if you are having trouble getting the wallet to crease where you want it to crease, you can go ahead and add a little water, and that's really going to help it crease down. And then we can also start to get our rivet holes to align. So I'm going to start with the outie on this side. And I'm going to take the two prongs, and I'm working on the right side of the leather, and I'm going to push it through the slits that are already cut into your leather. Now, if for some reason those prongs aren't aligning with the slits very well, you can take the prongs and you can move them in or out as needed. Okay, so now that the prongs are pushed through, I'm going to grab a washer and I'm going to push it onto the prongs, and then I can grab my bone folder and I want to really press those prongs in, trying to get them to pivot exactly down at the bottom so that I get a nice hold in there. So I have these two prongs pushed in, I have my washer in there, this is the wrong side, and then this is what the right side looks like. So let's flip this around and grab our other, and now we're working with the innie, and I'm gonna push that through right there, flip it over. Looks like I accidentally pushed one of my prongs when I pushed it through, so I'm going to use my bone folder there to push them in so that I can fit my washer on. And then once my washer's on, I'll go ahead and use my bone folder again to really push those prongs in. So I got my washer in, this is the wrong side, this is the right side. So now I got my magnetic snap in. So let's go ahead and get some rivets into this. We got double cap rivets here. And a double cap rivet has two parts, a part with a post and a part with a cap. And we want to take one and put it in from the wrong side here. And then I'm going to grab another one and I'm going to put it in here from the wrong side. And one last rivet into here. Then this folds over on top and I can stick the rivet post through that side of the leather. Now that I know where my rivets are and they're aligned right here, I can actually take the bone folder and start to crease the sides even more. The last step before I set these rivets is to pull this leather up and stick it through the rivet posts that are already in there. So I'm starting with the center one there, and I'm gonna put a cap on. Now this is not gonna hold tightly because it hasn't been set yet with a hammer. And then I can get my corner one in there, same thing, connect a cap there. Hopefully this holds enough for me to get this one on here and connect a cap there. Okay, so these are all set up now and ready for me to set, but I want to grab a hard surface, like my stone slab here, and then I also want to grab my dot anvil. Now the dot anvil has a concave side and a flat side, and you want to make sure that the concave side is face up, because otherwise if this side, the concave side, is face down, there's a metal rim here and that could actually indent into your leather if it's face down. So let's start by setting our center rivet. You want to make sure to set a rivet on a hard surface, and then you can actually just hit the rivet with a hammer. So concave side face up, I really want to make sure that I'm actually under my rivet, and I can feel that there. And then I can go ahead and set this rivet with the hammer. Now I can tell that my rivet is set when it indents into the leather, and you can see that the rivet head is flattened there. Now I'm going to take my dot anvil and put it under this rivet and do the same thing. You don't want to go in and hit your rivet head really hard right away. You want to coax it down. So I'm hitting it with light to medium hits until I can see it indent into the leather. And then I'll set my last one here on this side before moving on to the other side. And I can feel that my dot anvil is under my rivet there. So I'm ready to set it. Great, and so that's one side of my wallet, and let's go ahead and do the same exact thing to the other side. I'm just creasing these wings in using my bone folder. I added a little bit of water to help it crease in. Lastly, I'm going to crease this one up. Okay, so now we can add our rivets. The first rivet goes into one of these holes from the wrong side, and it doesn't matter which one. And then we have our other two that go in from the wrong side here and from the wrong side over here. Okay, now we can actually align this center rivet and recrease, because now we know exactly where we want the leather to land. So we can give it a little bit more memory. So it's a really nice tool to get the leather nice and creased. Okay, so now pull this side up and align it with the center rivet and connect the cap. And again, it's not going to hold really tightly until we actually set it with the hammer. Connect the cap there, and last side. Okay, so I'm going to grab my hard surface and my dot anvil, put it under that center rivet, and I'm actually going to show you one other way to set a rivet, and that's with a double cap rivet setter that has a concave side here, and it preserves the roundness of the rivet cap. But if you're going to be using one of these, it's best to use a mallet, because when you hit a metal tool with a metal hammer, it doesn't transfer the force as effectively, and it can damage your metal tool over time. So if you're going to be using a rivet setter, then make sure you grab a mallet. So let me just make sure my dot anvil is centered right underneath my rivet. Grab my rivet setter with the concave end face down and set that rivet with a mallet. Okay, so you could see there that the roundness of the rivet cap is still preserved as opposed to this one being flat. I think it's a very slight aesthetic difference, and it just depends on what you like. I kind of just like setting my rivets with a hammer. I find it to just be a little bit more straightforward. Okay, I'm just peeking in there, making sure my dot anvil is under my double cap rivet, and I'm on a hard surface, and I'm gonna grab my hammer and set that. Okay, I have one more rivet to set over into this corner. Set up my dot anvil, hold everything into place, and set that rivet. Okay, so now all the rivets on my wallet have been set. The last thing I want to do is I want to give the wallet a little bit of memory to fold in the center here. Now, as the wallet wears in over time, it will start to flatten a lot. And it will start to darken a lot too, and it will get a lot softer because that's how vegetable tan leather works. It works in and it develops a story and a patina over time. And now we got all of our rivets set and a cute leather wallet with a very satisfying snap. Got 4 card slots and 2 cash pockets. Thanks for making with me.